This week on Supercars Talk, there could be qualifying changes because Zane Goddard decided to have a crash. We have an investigation into a fire, and we talk a little bit about the silly season. First up this week, the human headline, that is Peter Adderton, has decided that he wants to postpone Bathurst until later on in the year to keep sponsors like himself happy. He's more thinking that chances are at this rate, the way New South Wales is going, even if we can have Bathurst in October, there probably won't be crowds. I don't blame him on that because there was a little lacking atmosphere last year with only the 4,000 there. But I would much prefer the event to go ahead with no crowds rather than the event not happen at all. There was a lot of comments I saw on the interwebs about that they should just swap the dates with the Gold Coast. Great in theory, but unfortunately, when you actually look at the timetable, if Gold Coast does still happen this year, the problem, they've got to build the track, and that's not just like, snap fingers and the track gets built. Bathurst is a little bit different, being a permanent kind of street course. Gold Coast, you've still got to build the track, which I assume that hasn't really started yet too. So to actually just swap the dates, it's not quite that simple. And a surprising amount of people saying, oh, well, we'll just cancel the rest of the series and then we can start Gen 3 in January next year. And everything's fine. COVID will go away because that was only a 2020 problem that's now dragged into 2021. We're probably still going to be seeing the effects of it even over the next couple of years. I don't want to get too political about the vaccine rollout and stuff because apparently I'm too political on here. But I don't see why, if you're a fan of the sport, you'd want to just cancel the rest of the series. That's in all of these lockdowns and stuff. Something that we actually look forward to is, watching sport because it is a bit of normality in our lives. It came out this week that BJR will not be running a Team Kiwi wildcard at Bathurst. They didn't actually say that they wouldn't be running a wildcard, they just said that they wouldn't be running a Team Kiwi one. Which was always a little bit strange because the driver that was all tied up in there at the moment was not a Kiwi driver. It was just a Brad Jones driver. And the Kellys have come out and said that they're not going to be running a wild card for Rick Kelly either. I was getting excited about seeing a lot of wild cards just to bring up the field at Bathurst, which is hopefully what will happen over the coming years with Gen 3, with extra cars being able to be purchased and cheaper to run and whatnot. But, not for this year. Well, some might still happen, but not in the way that people were thinking of. There was an investigation into the fire that saw Jack Perkins' Super 2 car kind of burn to the ground up in Townsville. Motorsport Australia investigated themselves and found that they did everything right. Jack Perkins he did a video on a really good one on their Perkins Engineering YouTube channel, explaining how the fire systems work in the cars, how they've changed over the years, and how he actually showed on a Walkinshaw car, and then explained the differences to how the Triple Eight guys mount their systems in the car. So it was a Triple Eight car that he was in at the time, and how he felt that getting back into a burning car to, turn on the firebomb, because the cars actually have firebombs in them to, suppress a fire if it does happen. But how he felt that the way it's mounted in the car, especially that where the fire was, it probably wouldn't have done anything. And because of the damage at the front of the car, the way the firebombs work, that it probably wouldn't have helped. What I thought more was that it highlighted the fact the marshals couldn't get out to the car in time. And this is because we have this stupid rule where something happens, we wave the yellow flags, and then you get to go around for 2, maybe 3 laps, like what happened in the main game where Cam Waters got to do a couple of laps before he did his pit stop, where the guys are, blazing around at full speed while there's an incident like this happening on the track, because everyone wants to get their pit stops done and no one wants to lose a millisecond of time. Because imagine if that car was jammed up against the wall or something and Jack was trapped in it, and the marshals can't get out to him because, guys have got to drive around at full speed because we don't want to lose any kind of advantage. At some point, there is going to be an incident like that where someone is going to get, really hurt because of this stupid rule where, if it's dangerous enough that we have to have yellow flags and a safety car, it should mean that you have to stop. If it's not that dangerous, like what happened in the main game, you don't so much, bring the yellow flags out straight away, but you essentially tell the teams that yellow flags are coming out, do your pit stops so you don't get disadvantaged when we move this car. That's the way, as I keep saying, that's kind of how IndyCar guys run it. And yeah, I think that we should, as soon as there's a dangerous incident, yellow flags come out, pits get closed, everyone has to slow down to just trundling speed until they catch up to the safety car, because something's going to happen. And something like this, instead of looking at it, what did the marshals do wrong? Why couldn't the marshals get to the car quickly because of this stupid yellow flag rule? I don't know how many times I am going to have to say about this before something happens. There is talk of changing I suppose it's just the top 10 qualifying rules because of what happened between Goddard and Shane Van Gisbergen over the weekend. Seems some people didn't get my joke that Supercars paid Goddard to crash to, affect Shane Van Gisbergen's lap. Of course that was a joke. Why would Zane actually want to crash the car unless they were paying him a hell of a lot of money to, pay for the damage to the car and make it worth his while? It was just a joke. This has happened once. And like what happened at Bathurst with, Cam Waters running off the track and bringing stuff onto the track, do we need to have a rule for every little thing that might have happened once? I don't think so. Shane qualified, I think it was 6th for the race. He could have been on pole. It hasn't, even if the roles were reversed and it affected Zane Goddard's lap, in the grand scheme of things, something odd like this, we don't need a rule for every little thing that might possibly happen, or because it's happened, we need to bring in another rule for it, because we get these stupid, massive rule books that no one really knows what's going on. So, yeah, just leave it as it is. And if something like this happens in the future where it's, someone gets a little bit disadvantaged once, it's like with the yellow flag rule. Someone might get a little bit of a disadvantage, but, swings and roundabouts, people. Now, a quick little silly season update, because there is actually quite a few seats signed for next year, but then the ones that haven't been signed seem to be really up in the air. The big one is Triple Eight. Shane Van Gisbergen he's signed, locked in. Who's going to fill the 88 seat? Brock Feeney, Earl Bamber, Richie Stanaway are the names that are kind of getting bandied around at the moment. I still think, Todd Hazelwood, Bryce Fullwood, Scott Pye in that role. I still think someone with a little bit more experience, which Richie actually kind of fits that bill, and I think him in a Triple Eight machinery would be a hell of a lot different to him in GRM machinery. Then we move on to Tickford. Cam Waters and Thomas Randall are locked in. They have 2 other seats to fill. Will James Courtney still be there, or will it be Brock Feeney taking that the boost seat that's there? Yeah. Who's going to fill the other seat? If Jack Le Broc's still bringing enough money, yeah. That's a hard one to call. Blanchard's Tim Slade is locked in. DJR, Anton De Pasquale locked in. Probably Will Davison will continue there. No reason to change that up. Walkinshaw Andretti United. Chaz is locked in. Will we see Bryce Fullwood continuing there? That's still a bit up in the air. My big one with that is, who do you replace Fullwood with that's a better option? Scott Pye's on market. Could you get someone like him? Brock Feeney, possibly, depending on what's happening. I can't see you're not going to steal one of the Erebus boys. Yeah, that's a tough one. You're stuck at a bit in between a rock and a hard place there, because Ford's not doing enough at the moment, I don't think. But, can you get someone better than him at the moment? Brad Jones Racing, Nick Percat is locked in. Chris Pither is bringing Coke money along, so he's probably going to take one of those seats. Will it be Macca's seat or will it be Todd Hazelwood's seat? Which then, does then Todd Hazelwood become available for Triple Eight or Walkinshaw or Tickford even? And it's looking a bit like Jordan Boys could fit in there somewhere. Yeah, will they have 3 or 4 cars as well? That is the question. Techno Team Sydney, both their drivers are locked in, so nothing to see here. Really? Team 18, Frosty is the one locked in there. Will Pye be staying? Will James Goulding be getting a full season seat there? Will Goulding end up somewhere else as well? He's too good to be on the sidelines, I think. Yeah, but where does he fit in? And he doesn't have a heap of money, but he could be a really good fit there at Team 18 because they don't need someone bringing a budget. Erebus, they've got long-term contracts with Will Brown and Brodie Kostecki, so nothing to see here, just like they had a long-term contract with Dave Reynolds. Unless a bigger team poaches them, those guys are staying, and I think it'll possibly be, say, Brodie going to Triple Eight rather than Will Brown possibly going anywhere. Matt Stone Racing, nothing locked in. They have a pool of drivers to choose from. Will they be 2 or 3 cars? So many questions, so little answers on that one. So that's my quick little wrap-up of the silly season. Down in the comments, who would you like to see moving around? The Triple Eight seat is obviously the biggest piece of the puzzle, but there is a couple other key seats, I think, like the Team 18 and the Walkinshaw seat, that are potentially really good seats for someone. If they can, especially at Walkinshaw's, if you can kind of match Chaz's speed, that could be a really good seat in the future. So anyway, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you next time.